Hey guys, how's it going? So, day one is done. I'm about to get started on day two sometime today. But, yeah, if I'm live right after this video goes up, I'll probably be doing Monster Hunter, maybe finishing the last challenge on PoE 1 that I gotta do, and then into PoE 2 till the storms hit, and we'll see what happens. But hey guys, editing me here real quick. I just wanted to go ahead and talk about as far as the nerfs and stuff. This whole video is for feedback and things like that, but also I kind of wanted to address just how the patch felt and how everything leveling felt. So as far as it goes, the idea of it being kind of like Souls-like PoE, like a PoE like Souls-like whatever, kind of like that idea. Personally, I kind of want to see something different between PoE 1 and PoE 2 and overall the like whole slog of leveling right now where they overly nerfed the bottom end as well, and it kind of feels pretty rough. Hopefully they get that in order. They already put in one patch, which is kind of nice to see. I might actually even go back and try to see how that feels. But yeah, the slog of leveling and stuff, hopefully they don't nerf the bottom end when they nerf the top end. That is one of the problems when they did the trigger stuff a while back, with the first one or the first patch of this, the first start of early access, whatever. Anyway, the nerfs kind of hit a little too hard sometimes. It is what it is. Hopefully they'll bring things back up and then they start just nerfing the really broken stuff without hitting the bottom end of the broken stuff, because that's when it really feels bad for people. So yeah, I can see why there's a lot of the comments that are out there, as far as people being upset. Some people overly upset, but yeah, it is what it is. And then, again, constructive feedback, though, they do need the feedback. So if there is anything wrong or anything you want to see changed, if you're somebody who just kind of goes with the flow, might not be too bad if you just find something that's just a little out there. Something's not hitting right, something looks like it's should be hitting that's missing an AoE or anything like that. Just let them know. And again, let them cook is kind of what I've been saying. And at this point, I think, PoE 2 is a little undercooked. So let them cook, see what they do. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. Again, at the end of the day, games are for fun. And if you're not having fun, definitely play something else. I'm going to start the stream today with Monster Hunter Wilds and then probably go to PoE 1 and into PoE 2. And overall, if somehow something happens to both of them and I end up not liking PoE 2 and PoE 1, then I'll just find a different game. So at the end of the day, just, kind of do whatever's fun. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But at this point, too, again, this is an early access. Give them feedback, let them cook with it and see where it goes. And I'm just kind of along for the ride. And if if the ride crashes and burns, then it crashes and burns. But anyway, guys, back to the rest of the video. Day one was rough in a lot of ways. And I'm sure by this point, a lot of people seen a lot of the videos. I should be showing somewhere around this time some stuff that, I was dealing with myself. The stuttering at the beginning and the object, whatever bug, error that was crashing the game every 5 seconds was so obnoxious that I just eventually stopped, went and just ate food, and then came back after that, and it was still bad for a little bit. One patch went through and it seemed to fix some of it, and then eventually, for me anyway, it fixed most of it, and that's how I ended up here in Act 3. Now, I went to try to get a support because I was going to talk about some supports, so I did go out and actually get a crazy amount of skill gems, which is kind of funny. But we can at least talk about the skills. I was going to try to show some supports and things that I was looking at. I did jot down some notes so I could go ahead and read those off instead, because I just got lucky with these, or unlucky with the supports, however you want to look at it. Overall, though, made it to Act 3. The Act 2 boss, again, was another growing pain, and I'll go ahead and throw that up probably at this point, where, yeah, it's probably, I don't know how fast I'll try to put that up on the video right now, that I'm playing it, because that fight took way too long, because I decided to try everything. I know my camera's kind of in the way here. I'll try to move it real quick. But yeah, I have a lot of different skills and stuff. And yeah, that's a big mistake. So, I can't really recommend a good way to level I can just say, don't do exactly what I did and try a little bit of everything. So while I was out getting these, I did play around with a couple of different things that I could do. If you notice, I'm not holding a shield, and that wasn't a buckler that I had. I accidentally, wait, no. No, I have it right here, actually. Okay, I got a buckler. And I found this unique, too, while out and about. But yeah, so the parry stuff. Early on, that is kind of rough. Just doing the parry at the start, where you have, like, one parry, then disengage, then throw the big spear for the damage, then that boosts the damage up from whirling slash, and then you get the twister to then throw out and do some crazy damage. And if the arena's right, then you get to do a insane amount of damage. Combine that with things like barrage, which I guess I could put here now if I'm gonna play around with this. The main thing is, the two builds that I would probably aim for right now is either full commit to the Twister playstyle or full commit to just bleed. And I tried to do both because both kind of worked. Disengage was a great movement ability. I still have it right here. And yeah, the abilities still in my inventory are Stormlance, Disengage, Bloodhunt, and Spearfield. Spearfield was great in some circumstances when a rare would just kind of slowly walk at you. You just throw a bunch of those up and watch it just delete itself. That was kind of cool. But very situational things where you would just do an insane amount of damage, and that's kind of one of the problems with this. You have to combo pretty much everything. There's not a skill that really stands out on its own other than maybe Rake for actually clearing. You just jump to something, you leap to the target, and then you just, like, I would leap, disengage, you know, Rake, disengage, you just keep moving forward, kiting everything, and then Herald of Blood would cause the pops and clean up most things. So I was leveling actually pretty good when it came to going through, and then a rare would hit with a lot of health, and it would be a struggle bus. And whether it was the Spearfield or whatever I was using, I comboed at one point Stormlance with the explosive one. At that point, I would definitely do more of a disengage into Rake, into Rapid Assault, at least probably hit one Whirling Slash so that they're blinded while I'm doing this. So Rapid Assault, I did have Rage on it at some point, then parry, then after I parried, disengage, explosive spear, then 3 Whirling Slashes and Twister, and that was my big combo to actually do something, and that worked pretty well. It's just at that point you're playing a full combo fighting game just to even take down one rare, and luckily Rake was clearing everything on the way, so it felt pretty good. But again, that's one of the problems with this, is that you have to do everything for not the biggest payoff, and that is a problem. So I feel like one of the main things for this video is some of the feedback. Hopefully we get a bit more damage for some of these combos, because setting up stuff like that, if that's the combo they want, what I did, that needs to have a huge payoff. I need to fit it. The rare definitely needs to be dead at that point. Is it the rare had too much health? Is it the mods were too crazy? Or am I just playing too much of a medley of skills to where it's just bad? So that's probably the case. Now, I went ahead and started going this way, which this felt good in the beginning. Definitely comboing with melee and projectile. Then I started doing the accuracy stuff because I took the crit note. Yeah, depending on what happens when I actually get this started, I might spec out of the accuracy, go for the weakness thing, and either come up here, try to get some more dex, because dex has been a problem, and just for now spec out of the accuracy, spec into the spear stuff, maybe get out of the bleed stuff for now. I pretty much need to either A, commit to the bleed entirely, or B, commit to the twister. And I haven't decided which one I want to try yet, but I feel like the bleed can definitely work. I just needed to commit to it a little more, a little sooner, probably grabbing incision and some magnitude up here. I don't know if this necessarily, again, this is not a build guide video. If you are looking for a build guide video, what my recommendation is to look for somebody who has definitely made a bleed build that is saying they are playing it currently and their leveling experience was really good. Because if I were to do things differently, I would spec to this for the bleed immediately. Does that fix the build? Does that fix the experience I had? Probably not. Who knows? Maybe it does. But I do have some magnitude down here, and in which case I would disregard the accuracy, come down here and get this bleed, and probably try to get this bleed here. But again, this is on crit. That's why I'm doing the crit thing, because the aggravated bleed on crit. The other option is to come over here for this bleed, or maybe even path to this one instead of coming down into this direction. Now, the other way, and what I might try, is if I do the twister thing, actually take this stuff and not worry about the crit here, but the crit damage, and go up to, I don't know, these, maybe the, well, I'm not doing accuracy stacking yet, so probably these two, because it's attack speed and just a pretty good amount of damage. And from there, I do have Tame Beast, so I don't know, maybe try some companion damage stacking there. So I might path up here, but one or the other. You got to commit to the twister, you got to commit to the bleed. Don't try to do a little bit of everything. And again, I even have Lightning Spear right here, or Stormlance, whatever it is. Now, another build that I would definitely look for if you were going to look for somebody saying that a guide is a huge thing would be the lightning skills. Stormlance, Primal Strikes. I mean, Primal Strikes even works with other things other than just lightning, I think. Or is it just lightning? Okay, it is just lightning. So Primal Strikes, Thunderous Leap, maybe. Does this leave Shocking Ground by chance? Tip of the air, plunge your spear in the target location, emitting a lightning charge shockwave. Never mind. So, or finding a way to get... Actually, that's what I need to do for the twister. I need to look at other skills to see if I can actually get Chilled Ground, Burning Ground. Actually, I didn't think about that. If Twister, or if Warleg Slash works with Flame Wall, then we're in. Twisters probably work with Flame Wall, so yeah, I need to check that out. Anyway, that's beside the point. That's for stuff during the stream. So, the lightning stuff looks kind of crazy. And I've heard really good things about Fangs of Frost doing some decent damage early on as well. So, Lightning Spear. I mean, it does kind of look pretty cool. So, with that, plus Stormlance, plus Primal Strikes, and you're shocking, you can definitely build Shock because you're really close to it-ish. And then, yeah, overall, probably a pretty solid build to look for. Again, I'm not recommending this as a build guide, but this is something to search YouTube for leveling if you are going to try to play Huntress. Now, the feedback part of the skills and what I like and dislike about them. Disengage. I don't know if I'm actually traveling faster than not, but yeah, and also strikes and projectiles to miss you while jumping. That has felt amazing. I kind of want to fit disengage in just because it feels like a second dodge roll. So I'm going to miss that if I get rid of it. And so far, that is not on my bar right now. But disengage felt great for moving through, especially while doing rake. So I don't know. If I'm doing a clear thing, maybe I swap the skill out, although that's a little weird. But yeah. There's a clear setup, and then like if I go fight like a pinnacle boss, then I might change it up. But yeah, disengage feels pretty good. The one thing that feels bad about it though, and the feedback here, please, GGG, fix the hitbox for like consuming the parry. If you parry something, personally I feel like there should be a little auto aim assist there. I don't know if on controller it does kind of auto aim for the target. But there was multiple times. I even remember seeing a clip. I think I've seen a bunch of clips. I think it was DS Lily actually had where she missed the disengage and was like, okay, maybe I didn't get a frenzy charge or whatever. And yeah, I know I said, why didn't I get a frenzy charge there? And why didn't that hit? I probably said that 20 times yesterday, if not more. At least 20 times. So that feels really bad. Either make it auto target for the parry, which, yes, I get, could get a little weird if something's behind you and you don't want to go that way. But at least in some way around your mouse, target the parry target, not whatever the mouse is actually on. Because a lot of times I'd be just the taller enemy, it would target it, and then they'd literally be like a pixel apart, and it would hit it rather. And even though it is like a cone, it still was just out of the range, and I would fly back and no frenzy charge. And especially early on, where I was using explosive spear, that means I do no damage at that point. And then I was following up and then doing the twister, so my whole combo just broke because that just didn't work after trying to get the parry. So that felt really bad. I don't think I can find an example, but hopefully I did. If not, then yeah, again, about 20 times at least on stream yesterday. So, Whirling Slash feels pretty good for movement once you have enough attack speed. I definitely, if you're going to do Whirling Slash and Twister, that one has martial tempo for sure. I'm pretty sure I actually have martial tempo on it right now. Twister, it bounces around. It does a lot of damage, especially when you have some kind of like burning ground. I definitely need to look for a better way than Explosive Spear, especially if I'm changing things up. Maybe there's a good shocking ground or chilling ground that I could do, but yeah, Twister feels pretty good. I definitely think you could definitely scale it. Barrage is really nice with it, and it's one of those things, if the arena sucks for it, then your damage is going to be not as good. But if the arena is great for it, you just destroy things. The one boss in Act 2, where it's in the middle, the huge boss, and it slams his face in the ground and all that, it creates burning ground. That was just a cakewalk. That was super easy. Also in Act 2, the guy who has the 4 things that if they break, they spread burning ground and create a tiny arena in the middle. He broke one, and then I just had free burning ground that I could bounce around, and that was a super quick fight as well. So those felt great. So I might try to capitalize on that and do a twister thing. I kind of want to do the bleed stuff. That was the whole point of the build. But I'm still debating. It's a coin. I might actually flip a coin to choose. So twister, I don't have too many notes for that one. But yeah, it hasn't felt that bad. And it's a nice, quick, very well, the attack time is not that long, especially since you got to build up Whirling Slash. So the barrage feels great with it. Explosive Spear feels pretty bad for the straight up damage. The explosion though is kind of nice there with 252% now at level 9. That could maybe go somewhere, but again, you need, oh wait, that's not even the frenzy charge one. 280. And so yeah, you really kind of need the frenzy charge one to really get the big damage here. And with the ignited ground, you can then spin on that and everything else. Other than that, it does okay damage. Results may vary. If you're just going to use it as is, you're definitely going to want to put the extra thing, so the limit to 2, whatever that support is. Again, I don't have the supports. I can't really look at those. Rake with stomping ground and strength stacking a little bit feels really good. Pretty easy to do early on. But Rake, definitely a great bleed skill. Again, I already talked about bleed or Rake disengage and moving on. That felt great. I haven't done Fangs of Frost, so I can't really talk about that. Same with Lightning Spear. I actually didn't try either of those out. Spearfield, I already talked about that. That felt really good as far as depending on the enemy you're fighting. Again, kind of like Twister. Depending on the enemy, Twister felt great. Depending on the enemy, Spearfield felt great. Depending on the enemy, depending on what I was doing, Rake felt great. And then eventually Rapid Assault. So it was kind of cool that I was using a bunch of stuff, but by the end of Act 2, nothing was really doing the damage that I needed to do to actually defeat the boss. So I definitely have to consolidate my build in Act 3 now. That'll be the first thing I do when I get streaming. Yeah, and with that said, I guess the last thing for feedback is, with all of these combos, if the way I mentioned my combo before with the Rake, Rapid Assault, Whirling Dash, or Whirling Slash, Parry, Disengage, Spear, Whirling Slash 3 times, Twister. If that's actually the combo or a combo they've envisioned, payoff needs to be way more. Because right now, that was death by 1,000 pokes. Especially that boss. Again, if I didn't show that, I'll try to show that now. But anyway. That'll be it for this one, though, guys. That's where I'm at so far. I don't really have a build diary or anything. Hopefully, I actually have something a little more solid. But like I said, Tame Beast. If you're going to do bleed and stuff, I know there is the physical damage aura. I'm going to try for that. But I haven't got to do that yet. And I only got to barely use Bloodhound's Mark. It's pretty cool, I guess. And I think Blood Hunt could be used for dealing some damage to bosses with the 196%. So I have to play around with that. But, yeah. Again, it may be a bossing skill at some point. I don't know. I haven't really played around with it too much. I tried it for clearing. Clearing felt bad. So if I do bleed, I'm going to pull it back in because I'm going to get rid of some of the other stuff. Even maybe Twister. But yeah, that's about it. So anyway, back to ending and wrapping it up. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that usual stuff in the description. Twitch, Twitter, Discord. I'll be live right after this goes up. But anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Peace.